Yo, what's up, your boy Ghost here, and today I'm bringing us another comparison video between the Cooper Carbine and STG-44. And I wanted to make this comparison because I feel like these two weapons are going to be the meta once the brand actually ends up getting nerfed. And speaking of nerf, I actually want to apologize for last video because in that video I was talking a lot about this update that had come out at the time and we had no information on, but only thing I was hearing was that certain weapons had gotten changed. But it turns out actually that when the update officially got its patch notes, nothing was mentioned about STG or Cooper Carbine getting a change or even the brand. So I think we're going to have to wait a little bit longer for these updates to actually take place. Maybe they actually did take place, but we have to wait for an official word. Because at the moment, if any changes did happen, it's unofficial because they were not mentioned or highlighted at all in the patch notes. So, there's nothing to talk about there right now. But anyways, man, both these weapons are actually really, really good. The Cooper Carbine, surprisingly, a very, amazing AR, which we'll talk about in a second. But before we do, man, I'm going to say if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 2,000. We're like 120 less, or a little bit less than that away. Every sub helps. And, yeah, man. That being said, though, let's get into the comparison. And here we have the recoil pattern for the Cooper Carbine, which as you guys can see isn't too crazy. This gun is actually pretty surprisingly really good for range, accuracy, and whatnot. And it's kind of funny because when this gun first came into Warzone, people were using this as a secondary. This was by far the best secondary in the game. It actually ended up receiving a few nerfs in the updates that came out after the integration, just because of how good it was. And now it's transitioned more into a primary, position. Really good AR. I would consider it to be a top 3 AR. You can easily make the argument that it's the best AR in the moment. I see a lot of people using it. People like Swag, they're using this gun right now, and it's really, really good. Now I will say I gotta apologize because this gun also falls victim to me not leveling it up. I don't have it leveled up nearly enough to have the good attachments on it, so I don't even know how good it can be. But from what I was using and what I was able to do with this low-level carbine, bro, it opened my eyes to, on how good it truly is. And it has range, even though it's I don't have the right barrel, I don't have my suppressor, I don't have the right mag. I was able to do things with it. And this gun actually could still be used as a secondary. This gun is very versatile in my opinion, more versatile than a lot of the ARs in the Vanguard category. I can't really think of another AR that's as versatile as the Cooper Carbine. I really think you can do everything with this gun, where I think a lot of the other guns lack in certain areas because they may be too slow, they may not be too much powerful. But this gun, man, I feel like it's the right mix of everything, and it's what makes it a really, really good AR. And I can see this gun really being meta if it gets adjusted, because again, the rumors were a few days ago that certain attachments on this gun were adjusted. Now, I'm not going to lie, I could easily see that being a nerf considering how good this weapon is. But if it was to get some sort of balancing or some sort of buff, this gun would, I think, be a clear-cut option for meta in the coming future. But again, we have to wait for the brand to officially receive its nerf, because right now it's still the same brand, I believe. I mean, granted, if you saw my last video, you would see that at least the recoil pattern on that gun changed, and so one can assume that the recoil on that gun has increased. But there's no official word of it. I've yet to use that weapon in this new update, so I can't really give you guys a definitive answer. I've yet to see actual gameplay of this brand after the update, so again, no official confirmation on that. But anyways, man, for now, this Cooper Carbine, man, definitely the truth. And if you have not leveled it up yet, I would get on it, because I'm telling you, man, in a few weeks, once that brand update comes out, it's over, man. This gun is going to be next up. But anyways, man, with that being said, let's get into the stats and the STG. And there we have the recoil pattern for the STG, and as you can see, it's essentially the same as the Cooper Carbine. These two share a lot of similarities when it comes to accuracy, recoil, and just damage range. And both of them, I really can't put one over the other, and especially since the Cooper Carbine isn't fully maxed out for me, so I don't even know how much better it can be at range, and if it actually I guess it's better than the STG at those ranges. But overall, man, they're both very, very similar, and they both have the makings to be the next meta when the brand finally gets put in the dirt. But anyways, man, the first stat that I want to talk about is the fire rate, and I'm not gonna lie, man. The statistics for the Cooper Carbine are actually very interesting, considering that it's so good, and yet the stats don't really make it seem like it's amazing. But again, stats never tell a full story, and yeah, With that being said, though, let's get into the fire rate. Which for the Cooper Carbine we have 803 RPM, which is probably one of the more faster ones that I've covered in terms of Vanguard ARs. And then for the STG we have 600 RPM. So obviously that's a clear advantage for the Cooper Carbine in fire rate. And fire rate is very, very important. But keep in mind, this statistic is only the base fire rate. This has nothing to do with like any type of fire rate attachments that increase it. And even if you were to have like all fire rate attachments on the STG, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't surpass the 803 RPM from the Cooper Carbine. It's just like that's not how the fire rate attachments work. It's not gonna give it 200 RPM more, but it will give it a significant increase. But Cooper Carbine, man, still gonna have the advantage no matter what. And I mean, 803 RPM, man, that's pretty fast. And for a gun like the Cooper Carbine, man, the AR with that range and no recoil, yeah, that's pretty amazing. But moving on over to the damage, that's where it's gonna get pretty interesting. So for the Cooper Carbine, for 0 to 28 meters, we have 36 damage to the head, 28 to the neck, 26 to the chest, 24 to the stomach and extremities. And then for the STG, for 0 to 31 meters, 45 damage to the head and neck, 33 to the chest, 30 to the stomach and extremities. So obviously a clear difference in damage here. Cooper Carbine severely under damaged in this, but damage, man, like although it's severely under damaged, the Cooper Carbine is still really, really powerful. It kills really fast, and also the magazine that you want to use for the Cooper Carbine gives it more damage. Now, obviously, that damage isn't going to be enough to surpass the STG, but it's going to be enough to be able to make it compete with, or make it compete a little bit more. You know, when you put on that attachment. Again, I've yet to use that attachment, so I haven't, you know, I don't know how great it affects it because I haven't had the luxury of leveling it up to that third magazine. That's the magazine that you want to use. It's like level 38. I don't have my level 38. But when I am able to finally use that, I'm going to be able to see how much better the Cooper Carbine becomes, because, you know, you put a little bit more damage on this gun, and this gun is going to be amazing. You know, it's already amazing. It has no recoil, really fast fire rate. I would say decent damage. It reminds me a lot of the Mac 10 situation. If you guys are familiar with the Mac 10s, like the Mac 10 is a prime example of fire rate just being king. It'll always be my go-to example because it's, to me, one of the more bizarre things that have ever happened in Warzone in terms of statistics. I mean, that gun literally has a 1,100 RPM and has really low damage, yet it was always one of the best SMGs, one of the more reliable SMGs throughout the just whole year of Cold War Warzone. And now I wouldn't even make the case that it's still pretty good. I have obviously used it. I've been too busy using these new guns, but you know, whatever. Moving on over to the damages over longer ranges, though, this is still, you know, in favor of the STG, but we'll talk about it anyways. For the Cooper Carbine, 28 meters and above, we have 28 damage to the head, 22 to the neck, 20 to the chest, 19 to the stomach and extremities. And then for the STG, for 31 meters and above, we have 39 damage to the head and neck, 28 to the chest, 26 to the stomach and extremities. So obviously, again, a clear difference in damage at this range. But it's not like the Cooper Carbine can't get it done at range. Like I said, this gun has no recoil for a weapon that has a high fire rate, and I'm missing a lot of attachments. And that's gonna be like a go-to thing in this whole video. It's just the fact that it's not leveled up, so I can't even tell you guys the full potential. But from what you've seen, a pretty low-level Cooper Carbine. I hope this is like enough to convince you. I mean, you don't probably need my convincing, but for people out there that have maybe not used this weapon or have not given it a chance, trust me, bro, this gun is definitely something that you want to take a look at, especially if you're using the STG right now, which is, you know, obviously a great weapon, but consider using the Cooper Carbine, man, because these two weapons I could definitely see becoming the face of Warzone pretty soon. We just have to be patient for the update that is yet to come, and it's already been confirmed that an update or more update is coming, but you know, we're gonna probably have to wait until next week. You know how they do, or maybe they might hit us with a surprise update in these next coming days. They tend to do some surprise updates, and you know, hoping that happens soon because the brand is still like essentially pretty good, and you know, we just need a new meta now. You know, we're all bored of this brand meta. We need a new meta, and I think these two weapons will be a solid meta and a fun meta that we can run around and have fun with. But yeah, man. that's about it for this video. Let me know what you guys think about this Cooper Carbine. Would you prefer it over the STG, or would you want an STG over this Cooper Carbine? For me personally, I think the Cooper Carbine is going to be my go-to. It just seems like it has a lot of potential, considering the fact that I don't have this gun leveled up, and you know, it's a lot of untapped potential right there that I'm missing out on by not having to level it up. But I'll get to it. So hopefully in my next Cooper Carbine video, hopefully it's not too soon, we'll be able to look at a Cooper Carbine more leveled up, so I can give you guys a little bit more insight on it. Which, you know, I'm sorry, man, that I haven't leveled up a lot of these weapons. It just, you know, these games aren't fun. But I'm gonna get to it, man. But yeah, man. With that being said, though, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.